Welcome back to Together Goes To, and this is Isai again, one of the two that runs this channel, and you are listening to, again, one of our weekend reflections. So how did this weekend reflection come about? We just thought we're gonna share some of our weekend thoughts or some of our reflections that's come about over the week. And every Sunday we're going to post some of our thoughts on married life, on life in general, on living in a foreign land, about travel, and really just about our thoughts in general. And maybe someone out there might benefit or needs to hear it. So we hope that we can reach you through that. So today's weekend reflection is on humility and pride. So to start, I'd like to invite you to imagine a straight line on a balance scale. On one side, we have humility, and on the other, pride. Of the two, where do you want to gravitate towards? Towards pride or towards humility? You know what? I don't blame you. Most of us, especially in a culture where I grew up in, would like to gravitate towards humility. I too have always thought for the longest time that those two words lie on a spectrum, each of them on one end, and that I'm supposed to pick one over the other. That is what conditioning, priming, and habits taught you. You see, from the very beginning, I've been surrounded by people who would constantly tell me, stay humble, blessed are the humble, or some variations. Keep your feet on your ground, fly under the radar, keep your head low, work without complaint, bite your tongue, don't blow your own horn, etc., etc. And as a result, I walked the world with my head bowed down, thinking that this virtue should be my North Star. It should be my guiding light. Humility has been my armor, and I have learned to hide behind its comfortable, familiar safety. I told myself I would let my work speak for me, and so even if I thought I was good in what I did, I would always work quietly, often uncomfortable in taking credit or recognition, and often hesitant to speak about things I was passionate about or excelled at. I was the man behind the camera, silently contributing. I was happy to assist and work bare bones to see others succeed. I was content in seeing other people take credit for things I'd done. I made painful efforts to blend in and not get noticed. I was so scared of standing out. Eventually, this rubbed onto every aspect of my life. I became a chameleon. I have adjusted, adopted, and virtually learned to be a wallflower voluntarily. But I thought, and this is what I told myself, that I was being humble. But there has always been a disquiet inside of me, a burning in my gut that I needed to douse, to quell. And at times it gets exhausting to fight this fight, because sometimes I paint a picture or create a design or write a speech. I step back to admire my work when it creeps in. Pride. I look at what I've created and I want to show somebody, anybody. I hear my words spoken by someone else and I want to say I wrote that. I see my art or design being used somewhere and I want to see my name on it. And I don't. I cannot. I have had this paralyzing fear of success, and so I start to self-sabotage. I start to be content in becoming second best, even if I know that with just a little bit more of a push, just a little bit more effort, I can be first place too. My fear of pride of going to the other end of the line of that balance scale prevented me from going that last step. Oftentimes, I'd find myself nearly at the end of the race and stopping dead in my tracks, waiting for someone to overtake me, break the ribbon for me before I take that step to the finish line. Instead of fighting harder, I just make sure that I fight just a tiny bit less than the next person, so that I still get to do things I loved, somewhat, quell my thirst for execution, but not deal with the rewards and recognitions that came with it. I leave behind me a trail of skill that I am only so good at, but not enough to succeed because I'm afraid of winning. I remember, for example, being a young student who started getting rewards in school for academics. I was often very conflicted between being proud of my achievements and staying humble because of the shiny gold medals around my neck. It wasn't until I received my first silver that I quickly realized that being second place means the next person can deal with the honor, the louder applause, the handshakes, and what in my young head I thought naturally came with it all, the pride. So from then on, I happily took silver, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade up until university when I was cum laude, even if I knew that with just a little bit more study hours, maybe a little bit more activities, I could have been magna cum laude with high honors, because that was how you keep your feet on the ground, I thought. That was how you stayed humbled. When I started working, for example, I moved here in Qatar, and I remember being diagnosed with a hormonal disorder. That meant that I gained almost half of my body size all of a sudden. After following a rigorous weight loss plan for almost a year, I was finally beginning to show improvements. But then on my way up to the office one day, a dear friend joined me on the lift and paid me a compliment without even thinking about it. She mentioned how everyone had noticed how much weight I've lost and that I looked great and how proud they were of my progress. And what do you know? The very same day I was craving sushi, mango fish curry, biryani, and those really fluffy Japanese cheesecakes you see from that Facebook cooking video. Whatever it was, I wanted to eat it. And only 1 month of that when, back to the drawing board. But that's how I thought I was flying under the radar. But who else is hearing me say this out loud now and saying to themselves, that's crazy? And you know what? Again, I don't blame you. It is crazy. And a little bit sad. And that's exactly what I became. A sad, second best, jack of all trades, master of none. But you must understand, I wasn't doing it on purpose. I've been primed, developed habits, and eventually became conditioned to self-sabotage. And my first step towards overcoming this state came through the powerful words of a writer, Marianne Williamson. She said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. You see, the world is full of mediocrity and good enoughs. And that's what my reflection is really. That I have not been giving justice to what talents and gifts I've been blessed with. By playing small, I have unknowingly made others do the same. Imagine if all of us chose to dim our shine because nobody wants to be the brightest. Then we are all cultivating a culture of darkness. This is where inspiration dies. So I guess in opening up my vulnerability to everyone and throwing out my deepest fear out there, I hope in speaking it out loud, I can battle this war with my false cloak of humility and learn to be proud of my colors and brightness, as we all should. Because pride and humility does not sit on either end of the spectrum. They're not good or bad. It shouldn't have to be a choice between the two. Because the only way we can live to our greatness is to know that at the same time we're small enough to keep learning and receiving, but also big enough to be worthy of our talents and gifts. So I think it's about time that we've shaken that mentality. Go ahead and shine bright. Be proud of your own light. If you're still here, I'm assuming you like this little bit of content, so we would really appreciate if you could give us a like or a comment below. Tell us what you think. And maybe telling us one big plan that you're excited about and that you'd give your all. Start small. Remember, the idea is to be proud of bringing out your light. Tell us all about it in the comment section below. Give us a like, recommend us to your friends, and maybe hit the subscribe button so we can keep making content like this. And stay tuned for our next reflection on Sunday right here in Together Goes To. Thanks for watching.